Thank you for joining our Digital Transformation Snacktime Snippets. I am Bill Marcial, Director of Enterprise Architecture. Today we have Karen, a technical architect with XTIVIA, presenting Spring Cloud with Azure features.
Thanks, Bill, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm going to speak a little bit about Spring Cloud function. Now, to make you understand this, first I have to explain you about serverless architecture. Most of them you might have heard about this architecture, but I'll just give a brush on this topic. This serverless architecture is a new pattern which takes out all the efforts of maintaining servers, scaling servers, and then removing servers from the enterprises. I mean, now enterprise means like no developer or no operations team or neither enterprise have to worry about this infrastructure problems. And now, then who will worry about this infrastructure problem is the person who's going to provide function as service platform. But currently in the market, AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, Apache OpenWhisk, and Google Cloud Functions. Well, it's all the headache is transferred to them. Enterprises just need to worry about their business and their operations. Now, so before, if you can see this diagram, from this API gateway, there used to be a web server or some kind of application server or a mainframe, or kind of in legacy. If I take legacy applications, it's a mainframe, but now it's all functions. So what underneath the functions, we don't need to worry about. The beauty of it is auto scalable. I mean, depending on the spike and depending on the configuration and depending on the package that we took from these providers, it is auto scale up, and the price that they're gonna charge us is only the execution time, not the hardware cost. It's just execution time that it will be charged to enterprises. As I said, there are 4 different players currently in the market, and AWS Lambda and Azure Functions are gone a step ahead in the market. Today, I will take this particular vendor, Azure Functions, and explain you about Spring Cloud Functions. Now, first of all, why we need Spring Cloud Function when we have such a good players in the functions. See, the point here is when we develop a function apps, when we leverage this serverless architecture and develop a function apps, it has one little problem, and the problem is vendor lock-in. So you have to develop as AWS stated to you, as per Azure guidelines, as per Apache or as per Google. So when in future, so you are completely logged in future, if you want to say have a different set of tools and different set of frameworks, then you have certain problem at that time, because that particular vendor might not support those particular tools at that point of time, or probably you want to switch from one vendor to another vendor because the another vendor is giving you a better deal. You cannot switch because you already developed a lot of code taking this with the Azure and AWS and Apache and Google. So because they give certain special and different way of doing this, so you cannot switch from vendor to vendor easily. You have to write everything from scratch. So that's the big problem going to serverless architecture. The solution is Spring Cloud Functions, which we're going to speak today. So Spring Cloud Functions take out all that dependency from the vendor, and it gives a Spring, because it's Spring, it gives a Spring framework upon it, where developers can do the development and write all the business logics. So for the Spring developers, it's they are doing as just a Spring I mean, they're just using a Spring framework and developing, because there's so many developers who are aware of Spring, and there's so many Spring experts. So it is very easy for to develop as function apps. I mean, serverless architecture apps. And also it takes out the dependency. I mean, when it comes to that function as service providers, so it comes in between there is a layer called adapters, where all our code will goes to that adapter, and it will transform to the vendor to the level of, I mean, in the way that vendor understands. Okay, to explain you better, I need to show this diagram. Say, for example, you are writing an API and you are invoking a HTTP functionality. So what it does, it first Spring Cloud function receives it. Say, for example, you deployed it on Azure, then it understands, okay, I have to change this request in such a way that Azure function understands. So there is a middle layer which says that, okay, it transforms all your requests to the level of provider, so that the provider can understand, then it will transform the request to the provider. So provider level layer is here. And all this is running on Spring Boot, which is very great, because Spring Boot now is becoming a standard for the application development. Now, in order to do that, it will use something called adapters, as I mentioned. These adapters are different to different providers. So Azure Lambda will have a set of adapters. Azure will have a set of adapters. The Apache is going to have a different set of adapters. So if I want to deploy it on Azure, then what I have to do, I just need to install that. I mean, I just need to put that adapter code in my project and then deploy it on Azure functions. And tomorrow I want to switch to AWS, and I just need to change this one layer. Rest of them is I don't need to change business logic. I don't need to change anything related to my my enterprise functionalities. The only thing I need to change is adapter. So in this way, Azure Spring Cloud function has solved the big problem called vendor lock-in. But still, I say it's not there 100%, but it's almost there, so that now enterprises can leverage it and use it for functionalities. And it is now, though I say that we can use the Spring Cloud functions for, say, less business critical applications than more business critical applications. So that's what I say, but it will be there. I mean, in say not a couple of years, it's within short duration of time, it will be there even 100% when enterprises can use it for very business critical applications. So let's say that demo. Everyone knows Spring Boot will start all from Spring Boot, going to start all from a small configuration called Spring Boot application, which I'm going to show you now. Yeah, it's called Spring Boot application. Well, everyone who knows about Spring Boot, they know that it all starts from here. So then from here, if we invoke a function, it's going to go to the real business logic service, which currently is not there. But the point here I want to make is, like, first the request comes here, and Azure Spring Boot request handler is the adapter, which I shown on the diagram. So tomorrow, if you want to change and want to deploy to AWS, you just need to change this particular class and add AWS Spring Boot request handler. And even you just need to change to AWS, and you don't need to change anything here. So you have to change just a adapter, and it's ready for switching to another vendor. Now a request comes here. This is a function name, as I said. So a new API will be created with the name uppercase. Request comes here, and request first goes to the handle request. As I said, first it goes to the adapter. There are a lot of due diligence happens here, which we don't need to worry about it. It's all Spring, it's inside Spring. So this particular piece of code understands on which vendor it's going to run and transforms your request so the vendor can understand. Then from here, it goes to your main business logic methods, which never is going to change. This class never going to change. This is service, your service implementation. So then from here, it goes to your databases or another layers, and then the response again. When business logic finish its operation and wants to send certain response, it comes through handle request again. It transforms again back to the way that clients understands. So it is from Spring, and this will be given to the client who are invoking this function app. So this one line will make huge difference, and this one line will make serverless architecture more usable. I mean, that vendor lock-in problem will be fixed from this one line, where it transforms and retransforms to the way that vendor understands.
Thank you very much, Karen. That concludes our digital transformation snack time snippet. Come back next week for another digital transformation snippet.